Good morning. This is part two of my eMyth homework assignment for the entrepreneurial program of PICS. Um, when last we left off, I was approaching question six. Um, Before I begin, though, I would like to share a bit of a preface uh, for this video, which I hope will serve as both a reminder for myself as well as uh, any future student of the program. Um, Part one was basically done when I was feeling particularly gung ho, as well as perhaps a bit overambitious. And I think, given the um, extra clarity that I have today versus when I did um, part one, it serves a bit of a dual purpose. I I do hope that my answers to the previous questions will be deemed satisfactory enough, of course. However, do not be a hero. Um, do not think that you must get everything done immediately. Um, my advice to um, my fellow students, as well as any future students that may see this, is to let your mind have a rest. You will do much better in doing that, both in this course as well as in your chosen fields of business. Uh, this being said, question six under the heading of the business development process states, describe the three distinct activities of development, or excuse me, of the business development process. Um, Also, what five key roles do they play? Um, I will attempt to answer this as succinctly and in my own words as I can. Um, the three pieces, as I understand it, are the innovation, the quantification, and the excuse me a moment, and the orchestration. Now, the way I would describe this is that the innovative is the idea of bringing about a method of making things easier and more accessible and comfortable for both yourself, any potential employees you may have, but most especially your customers. Innovation allows you to stay on the cutting edge of your field, as well as setting yourself apart from any additional businesses with whom you may be in competition. Um, this is a very in-depth process, as it will require the individual to put themselves in the position of their customers, and perhaps even getting feedback from them as well as your employees, or in some cases asking yourself, how can I make this easier? How can I make this more streamlined? How can I make this more accessible? There are many angles of yeah, from which innovation can come. Once you've collected your information, which eventually allows you to hammer out a solid idea, the ability of quantifying the methodology in which you might be able to put it into practice in is the next step. Like how will you make this innovation work for you and your business? This too is an element of a process, of a very large process. As you once you have the idea and have taken the steps to bring it to life, you then have to see where it can fit in your framework and what you might have to adjust in order to make it fit. And once you've established this, once you've quantified the process, that leads us into the third part, which is orchestration. This part is perhaps the most the but it's also in a certain sense the most difficult, as this is the phase in which you have to ensure that each step of the process of whichever type of business you're doing includes this. This must be a part of your framework in order to both increase effectiveness, increase customer satisfaction, as well as making life a bit easier for your employees in the long run. Each of these elements together will allow a greater margin of success. Now, I apologize for my now we move to question 7. Briefly describe for yourself. Part A, the primary objective. What do you wish your life to look like? Well, the way I see being able to start my own business, or that is to say, good neighbor leather cleaners, is that this will allow me to feel as though I am actively contributing, that I'm that I'm doing something that has um, staying power and allowing me to feel more like uh, a human being with a purpose behind him. Um, and and through this and my love of what I'm attempting to do, I hope to make my life as well as the lives of those I care about just a little bit better through through sharing the fruits of my success. Um, the second part of the um, portion of the question is, how do you wish your life to be on a day-to-day basis? Um, it is my hope that this business will allow me to both provide a service as well as um, um, hmm. Sorry, I just had to deal with a momentary issue with my computer. Um, to resume, the question was, how do you wish your life to be on a day-to-day basis? Um, I want to feel like I'm accomplishing something. I want to feel the success of truly forging a place for myself in a living, breathing community, and feel like I have something to offer the world. Um, so by being proactive and having my own day-to-day routine, which will inevitably allow me to be a part of the economical system of society and thereby improving my own quality of life. Um, I can feel a sense of true success every day. Um, the next part is, what would you like to be able to say you truly know in your life, about your life? That's an interesting question. Um, what I would like to say is that I truly know what it means to be of service. what it means to truly help people in as many ways as possible, and that I know how to be a truly good part, a good member of the community at large, and that I know, and I think most importantly, not only that I know how to be a success at life, especially in the realm of a business, but also a successful friend, someone that is truly worthwhile in sharing the moments, um, both with others as well as sharing others' moments. Um, the next the next portion of this question is, what would you like to be able to say you I'm sorry. How would you like to be with other people in your life? Your family, friends, business associates, customers, employees, community. Um well, I think the integral part, if I were to narrow everything I've already said right down to the nuts and bolts, is I'd like people to know that I really care about them, and that when they're with me, and when, be it if I'm doing them a service, or we're hanging out, having coffee, helping to solve each other's problems, whatever the case, I I truly care about them, and I want them to feel just as happy as I do. And on some inner level, um, employee, customer, who whoever they might be, I want them to succeed as well, and I want people to be able to say that of me, that that was something that was true and and honest about me as an individual. Uh, the next portion of the question is, how would you like people to think about, I guess, me? And I've answered that in the last one, but you know, um, a, a team player, a true friend, um, someone that really was or is committed to his ideals, and helping to about. Um, the last element of section A of question 7 is, what would you like to be doing in 2 years from now? 10 years, 20 years? Um, well, as far as 2 years from now, I'd like to see my business um, starting to pick up, starting to have a real impact, and helping to change my life, from someone that was living month to month, uh, pension check to pension check, to someone that can feel financially able, I guess. From the 10-year perspective, I'd like to see my business pick up from where it begins. Maybe have a few um, a few employees, a few repeat customers, um, just the solid framework of building a long term network and community, and especially happy and contented employees, especially. Um, 20 years. Um, that's interesting. In in this scenario, maybe I'd like to be able to be in a position where those who were employed under me might feel the bug, as it were, to help people um, through our service, uh, through our example at good good neighbor leather cleaners. Um, maybe um, whether that means becoming a franchisee and splitting up my customer base so that all of my employees turned franchisees might have their own segments from which to build off of, and which may in turn allow me to not only focus on being a being a spokesperson for our business, but also the importance of having um, um, things like horse riding and services to go along with it, uh, as well as like championing the causes for ethical environmental practices, and things that will help the community as a whole, using the company as a bit of a springboard. Um, oh, actually, there's another segment. I apologize. Just before section B, uh, the next question for section A is, what specifically would you like to learn during your life? Spiritually, physically, financially, um, technically, intellectually, about relationships. What a curious question. Um, I think that um, to sum this up in brief, being aware that you can be a businessman without sacrificing your connections to others and sacrificing the memory of where you come from. Like being aware that or rather remaining aware that you came from nothing. You started from the bottom, and you worked your way up. And I think most importantly, and especially in my case, you didn't do it alone. You you had have a support network, and that support network cares whether you or not, and you owe it to yourself and them to always put your best foot forward. And in that same spirit, pay it forward, helping those that are where you once were. Um, Section B of question 7 is the strategic objective, measuring what will serve the primary objective. A very clear vision of what your business has ultimately uh, has to ultimately do for you to achieve your primary objective. A product of your life plan. Um. Okay. Let's see. Business has to ultimately do for you to achieve your primary objective. Oh. Um. Initially, we have to get the ball rolling. We have to start small with a clear vision of where we eventually want to go, but acknowledge that we need to build a client base. We need to um, educate the public how having people that focus on cleaning their leather goods, be it boots, wallets, purses, saddles, various other forms of tack. In the case of horsemanship, can both save them time and money, as well as giving them more time to enjoy um, their horses and the time they spend with them. We we have to be aware that we will be a small company with big dreams, especially in the beginning, and we have to try and maintain a series of small goals to use as stepping stones to achieve the larger ones. Um, I, I'm, I believe that's as clear of an answer that I could give with my present understanding of the question. That being said, moving on to section C of the question, measurement of standards. The first segment of this is money. How big is the vision? The gross revenues, gross profits set the standards now. How much money do I need to work uh, independently and be free? To begin, as we're starting small, um, I will have to acknowledge that for a time being, I I will have to work within the framework that being on a fixed income allows me. In this case, I can make uh, I believe it's an additional 800 um, $800 a month. Um, I believe, um, and that would most likely have to be it at least for the time being until I can grow. As growth will, um, or rather, growth through success will also grant me the freedom to hopefully get thereby granting me additional freedoms through um, that particular achievement. Um, and and also in that same vein, being able to do that consistently and with a very clear understanding of what my method and process of doing that is going to look like. Um, an opportunity with uh, the next section is an opportunity worth pursuing. Under this is the caveat questions of can the business fulfill your financial standards? Um, the second uh, caveat question is defines who the customer is and what you need to sell and to whom. What feeling will your customer walk away with from using your product or service? Um, they should, I hope, walk away from the experience noting the attention to detail, the the sense of the sense of professionalism mixed with um, a strong sense of caring, as the manner in which I clean represents both how much I care about them as my customers, but also their feelings and their and and our our mutual uh, um, lo- love of horses, for example. Um, the third caveat question in the segment, uh, an opportunity worth pursuing. Who who is the customer? My customers, well, I think largely consist of um, horse parents, horse riders, individuals who through happenstance or situation may have found that maybe their favorite piece of leather, such as a pair of boots, a purse, a vest, um, you know, was damaged by the environment uh, or some kind of other situation in which we hope that by offering them a affordable way of having it cleaned would allow them to feel good about that item again. And in the case of um, horse riders and such, allowing them more time to spend with their horses and not have to worry about a significant amount of cleaning um, and the additional energy that entails. The next segment is standards. Now, I'm not really sure how to answer this next sub-question, but the question is, when will you complete the prototype? I'm hoping that by the time I'm finished this program, I will be in a position to open my business and have some feelers out for potential customers. As a result of that, geographical area that will be served is the next one. My geographical area will most likely consist of the Surrey area, the Newton area, and possibly Langley, though I would not be adverse to if an individual from Vancouver happened to hear about my business and want to test the quality of my work. But such being the case, how wholesale, retail, both standards. I'm well. Interesting one. How? Okay, I'm sorry. I had to reread that once or twice. I feel that with a combination of offering a pickup and delivery service, easy and straightforward drop-off process, that these objectives would be easily accomplished. As I will strive always to ensure that the quality is what makes it worth it. Section D, organizational strategy, develops an organizational chart and outlines the duties of each position. Goal, how do you replace yourself? This section would most likely not come into play until perhaps the 10-year mark. Maybe a bit less, but I think broad view, within 10 years, hopefully I can inspire other people to pick up the business from me. It'd be really cool if I could like offer my friends or acquaintances that are equally as passionate as I the opportunity to share in this, should it arise. Um, I think that and should it come to pass that I do get to accomplish my dream of being more of a spokesperson as well as a voice for change. Um, so much the better for me. Management strategy is section E. An effective tool that finds and keeps customers' profitability. Um, well, I think the beauty of my business proposal is how straightforward it is. It's not complicated. It's not something that requires a huge amount of much. It's straightforward. It's easy, and it's a really good community to be connected to because you're dealing with people that have an appreciation for not just quality, a sense of community, or even an athletic drive in the cases of horsemanship. But they're usually some straightforward, down to earth sort of folks, and they care about not just their animals in certain cases, but how they are presented and how they are perceived. Um, so I think the best management strategy is to try and always be cognizant of that. And maneuver your business in ways that constantly acknowledges that and adapts to their needs within that framework. Section F, people strategy. Um, how do you treat staff and do what you want them to do? Stay happy and continue to be fully productive in their work. Well, you know, I think the name says it all, really. Good Neighbor Leather Cleaners isn't just about the outward appearance toward the community we serve. It's it's also a statement about how we treat ourselves, um, either as neighbors, as as friends, or in my eventual goal, I'd like to have a sense of family with my employees. I I'd like them I'd like them to know that um just just as I care about the business, I care about them, and I want them to share that with me. I want them to feel fulfilled, and I want them to know that they too can succeed at whenever they choose to. And I'd be honored if I was able to share in that with them. Section G is the marketing strategy. What does the customer want, and how do you research that? Research this. Well, we have an idea at the core of the business. This is what we offer. Now, how we research the need is partially internet research, product promotion, company promotion, as well as connecting with areas where we may be needed to demonstrate that we are an option for assisting people in perhaps a need they're not fully aware yet that they in fact may need or want. Question 8. How will the E-Myth benefit you and your business? Well, I think really I've learned a lot through reading it a couple of times. The second time was, really listening to what the book has to offer, especially because I wasn't in quite the rush I was when I started. It's about being aware, or rather, the fact that the book has made me aware of phases that I've been going through that I wasn't able to identify as phases, and aspects of myself that I didn't really have a name for, but was often, or rather, still may feel intimidated by, because I know where I'm good at, and I know where I'm not good at, and now I have a framework that I can use to put that into perspective, and I can use this method in establishing where I can fit in my business and where other people might fit, be it partners, potential employees, volunteers, etc., etc., etc. It brings me back to a quote that I just love from another program that I used before. You don't know what you don't know, and the E-Myth has definitely made me aware of some pretty hefty stuff that I wasn't aware of before, and I really appreciate having the opportunity to benefit from it. Assignment to a close. Thank you very much for your time, and I hope that you find the answers I've produced satisfactory. Good afternoon.